are the life of luxury. There's nothing like the French Riviera and Monaco to ram home just how much money you probably don't have. But let's assume for a moment you are a bazillionaire. How do you go about flashing your wealth better than the next bloke? Yep, a car's certainly a pretty good way to make a statement. But in Monaco, you need something pretty special to stand out. But Maserati thinks it might have something of a draw card with the Quattroporte, which quite literally means 4 doors. Aha, I hear you say, but there's nothing new about the Quattroporte. It's been out a few years. And yes, you'd be right, but this one is a little bit different and a little bit newer, mainly because of that. Yep, it's an automatic transmission, but it's something that Maserati hasn't had in the Quattroporte. It's always had a compromised semi-automatic, which didn't quite gel with people who loved an automatic transmission. Now, you'd think that a niche car maker looking to compete with some of the world's most formidable luxury brands may have thought that an auto transmission might be a handy asset. Not Maserati. It was a bit too caught up in its driver's car heritage and Ferrari family values. But as they say, better late than never. The auto's here now, and you want to know a bit of a secret? That auto is actually the same one as used in the Ford Falcon. Maserati doesn't like talking about that. Surprise, surprise. Now that really says more about how good the transmission is in the Falcon rather than how bad it is in this, because it does work pretty well. 6 ratios, and it's actually the same one also used by companies like Jaguar and BMW. But when it comes to bragging rights and exclusivity, there is a bit of better news under that big long snout. It's a 4.2 litre Ferrari-made V8. Beautiful, sounds gorgeous. Listen to that. And it absolutely loves a rev as well. Screams up to about 7,200 revs, and along the way it produces 300 kilowatts of power. So it goes pretty well, but it is a 2-tonne car, so you're sort of aware of the fact that it's not exactly a Ferrari. Now, the engine's pretty similar to what Maserati has been using for a few years now, although with a smidge more torque and a couple of tweaks internally. But the main difference is where the transmission is based. It used to be way out there over the rear wheels, and now it's about here, bolted onto the back of the engine. Still, it gets along quite nicely. It gets to 100 k's an hour in about 5.6 seconds. So it's hardly neck snapping, but more than respectable, especially for a car this size. Something that's pretty refreshing with the Quattroporte is not so much how well it goes. You sort of expect that from a Maserati, but it's how comfortable it is. It actually rides pretty well, copes with all these roads just nicely. This would be a beautiful way to travel around Europe. And did I mention just how good it sounds? Oh yeah, sorry about that. But look, it is even better from the outside. And that could be a lot more important than you think. You see, as I mentioned before, one of the big sales pitches with the Quattroporte is turning heads. Now, that's the perfect way to turn a few more heads, especially in one of the big playgrounds of the rich and famous, Monaco. So obviously the Quattroporte is pretty good in the country, but what's it like in the city, where automatics really come into their own? I reckon I've got the perfect way to find out. A lap of the Monaco Grand Prix track. First up is the start-finish straight, one of the most famous bits of bitumen in motorsport. It certainly feels very different to when the Grand Prix cars are heading down here, but you get this sense of occasion. And don't forget, Maserati won here with Fangio at the wheel 50 years ago. But it seems the Monte Carlo police have got another idea. Looks like I'm going to have to abandon this one. Okay, so the lap of the track wasn't quite the success I was hoping for. Yes, the car attracted attention, just not the attention that I wanted. Still, it was all enough to learn that the Quattroporte is certainly a pretty nice way to motor. It may not outdo its competitors in each and every discipline, but it's got character, it's different. And surely when you're spending $250,000, character's important.